Hey everyone, hope you're well. Today I wanted to talk about the chance of Halo Infinite having a beta before launch, and why at this current point in time it probably won't happen. Betas are so crucial to improving a game just before they release, as it gives the developers time to improve any issues found before the game goes public, which overall ensures better success and longevity for the game. Halo Infinite has been in development for quite some time, although not quite the 5 years everyone thinks, as Halo Infinite truly went into development around April 2017, as that's where development went into full swing. Now, when you think about it, by the time Halo Infinite truly drops, it will be around 4 years of actual development. But the issue is no one knows how the multiplayer plays, or even how it's actually going to function in Halo Infinite. Which means if 343 are creating an absolute disaster of a multiplayer, we won't be able to tell them until it's far too late. Now of course, I think we are in for a treat with Halo Infinite's multiplayer, just judging from the demo, as the gameplay seemed very responsive and fluid, but it's also very important to let select members of the community playtest the game, which 343 announced last year. They built an internal pro team where they will be testing everything in Halo Infinite's multiplayer, making sure it's good for release. The thing with using a pro team to test the multiplayer is both good and bad. Good because they can make sure the weapons feel great and fun to use. They also can make sure the game is competitive enough, which is the direction Halo took with Halo 5. But that also brings my negative point, that just using a pro team isn't good enough when the majority of casual players who pick up Halo Infinite will want an experience that suits them rather than the super competitive side. I've always thought Halo was competitive, especially Halo 3, but I still loved Halo 5. However, even I can say that Halo 5 was extremely competitive. So 343 need to find a good balance between Halo 3 and Halo 5 so that it can still cater to the competitive Halo players but still entice the general masses too. As of course, the casual Halo players make up the majority of the fanbase, so it's absolutely crucial Halo Infinite is made for them in mind. Again, another reason why Halo Infinite needs a beta. Now here's the thing, 343 Industries announced back in 2019 that Halo Infinite would have a flighting program similar to Halo MCC that would be used to get player feedback leading up to Halo Infinite's launch. Then they also said that every Halo game after Halo MCC would receive a flighting program, which suggested that Halo Infinite would get the same treatment. So is this the case still, or have 343 gone back on their word? Let's just take a look at the facts. At E3 2018, Microsoft announced plans to put Halo Infinite in the fans' hands ahead of launch, with a beta or flight program that would allow players to give feedback that would ultimately shape the final program. Like you all know, this was most likely going to be the case, but with COVID heavily impacting 343 Industries, it became harder for 343 to meet their goal of releasing a beta before launch. This is what Chris Lee, the creative director at 343, had to say regarding this. Given the unprecedented challenges of this year, we're not quite where we expected to be in terms of broader public flighting. While not the full program we had envisioned, we have been working very closely with the community on nearly every facet of the project. Like I said, COVID-19 really screwed Halo Infinite's development, so that's the main reason we haven't received a beta just yet. And what's important to remember is that even before the delay, it was looking like there would be no beta. This was because 343 made a Halo Infinite post on Waypoint talking about the demo and then saying that the team is still working and assessing options for broader hands-on opportunities before launch, and we'll share an update when we can. But this process doesn't stop with launch. In fact, in many ways, feedback and community flighting will be even more important after launch, as we partner together to continually evolve and update the game into the future. This pretty much meant that if anything, flighting would take place shortly after Halo Infinite had released, rather than before. Obviously, flighting or playtesting different components of a game after it's launched is still important. However, 343 saying that they would have flighting after launch pretty much confirmed no beta was in the works at that time. Then we got the delay, and now everything has changed. But unless a beta was actually somewhat made at the time, there is no way 343 would divide their efforts and produce a beta now, which would take additional time and money to provide, regardless of how useful it would be. The fact that Halo Infinite was delayed means that they need to put all their focus on the actual game, for obvious reasons. So creating a beta would only add more work for them. 343 won't release Halo Infinite until they think it's ready, which is fantastic, although that doesn't mean they aren't rushing to get it out either. Microsoft gave them the delay because they aren't too worried about the Xbox Series S and X at launch, because I'm telling you right now, these are selling either way. And especially with Bethesda joining Xbox, it's even more of an incentive to buy an Xbox Series X. That said, Microsoft still want their biggest game out as soon as possible. And like I've said in previous videos, it's looking like Halo Infinite will release sometime between March and May 2021. Now, if we actually were to get a beta for Halo Infinite, this is the only way I can see it happening, and that is to release it on the launch of the Xbox Series X November 10th. It would make perfect sense and would again be incentive to pick up one of the next gen Xbox consoles. They could run the beta for a couple weeks and then of course fix the smaller issues before launch, which is definitely ideal. This would be the best way to release the beta, but I think if they miss that window, we probably won't get a beta at all. 343 could release an exclusive beta for some of the huge Halo content creators, or they could even pay some of the big Twitch streamers to stream the beta, which is another way to get it out to the community without actually releasing a huge public beta. Then again, I think a public beta is far more important and useful. So if anything, I hope they go that route. So guys, I just want to end by saying that a beta for Halo Infinite is still absolutely possible. So don't give up hope that it won't release just yet. But it's good to remember that 343 need to push Halo Infinite out as quick as they can. Of course, fixing the issues we all had in terms of graphics so that it looks somewhat next gen. Although, in all honesty, I loved pretty much everything besides the graphics. But hey, I don't play Halo because of the graphics. The gameplay is what stands Halo apart from every shooter, and is why many of us love Halo and love to play Halo. So fingers crossed, Halo Infinite will be a long-awaited return to form. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Let's hope that the Halo Infinite hype will return soon, and releasing a beta would definitely help with that. Although, like I've said in this video, don't be surprised if we don't get one. If you guys want to join my Discord, the link will be in the description, my Twitter also. Anyway fam, thanks so much for watching, please like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to support me that little bit extra. Thanks guys, have a good one.